Hello and welcome to the channel. We'll talk about all things card games and chill with friends. My name is Liam and today we are here for a very quick early morning cheeky stream because we are aware of a new HOLOLIVE OCG restriction list coming to the game. It's going to be revealed in about 25 minutes or so. So what I wanted to do was just do a little stream talking about it, talking about what I think and ultimately what we expect to see. And then once we see it, just discuss, you know, what do we think it means to the meta with the updates. But if you are new to the channel, please consider hitting that subscribe button over on YouTube and also following over on Twitch. On YouTube we have just hit 1,450 subscribers and I would love to hit 1,500 by the end of the year. So if you haven't already, please subscribe, please check out all that. And yes, we expect Liam to be restricted to one, which will do nothing because there is only one Liam. But that's the joke. I'm fat, so therefore there's three of me. Anyway, I am also joined with a good friend of mine. I am joined with Shinobi. Hello, Shinobi.
Good afternoon.
So
good afternoon, right?
Morning for us. Morning. Good morning. So the reason why I brought Shinobi on is because so Shinobi actually lives in Japan, lives in Tokyo, and has been to a load of HOLOLIVE OCG events, including the Bloom Cup. And I thought it would be really, really interesting for someone that's playing actively in the Japanese format, what they think to the current meta, what they think needs hitting, and ultimately what they predict the restriction list to be. I thought it would encourage some exciting and interesting discussions, and I've realized that your reactive is not on my thing. Give me a second, guys. Let me very quickly fix something. You're gonna see my screen because I need this. No, come here, enjoy a little fern doing a little blushing thing. There we go. Now we have Shinobi. now we can see them talking. There we go. There. So yeah, so obviously the game's been out for just over 2 months now. Obviously we got the new set coming out in December 20th. So in about 4 weeks time.
It's in December.
Yeah, the new set, yeah.
Okay, good. Continue. Yeah,
it's about 3 or 4 weeks time now. 1 week, 2 week, 3 weeks. In 3 weeks time, set 2 comes out, Quintet Spectrum, and we've also seen a load of reveals for that. And even at the moment, obviously, we've seen a meta appear with the release of just set 1. And I think the first one we've got to discuss is the Promise deck. Promise deck is extremely strong, extremely consistent more than anything. It does everything that a deck needs to do. But I don't know, I've seen lately that there's not been as many Promise representations and actually more Kanata in the Japanese game with event deck lists and results coming through. I guess to start, Shinobi, what's your thoughts from your experiences in terms of, one, what do you think the best deck is at the moment, and secondly, what do you think needs to change?
All right. So okay, just why doesn't this let me pause? All right, there we go. So we have. I'll try to do it. I want to look at the clock to not go over 5 minutes. So just for the chat to know, I'm not gonna dox myself, but I have played Yu-Gi-Oh competitively for roughly 4 years. It's not much, but it's honest work, like that meme of the farmer. It's not much, but it's honest work. I did a lot of top 8s in the TCG. I got myself top 32 on the South American Continental Tournament. That was my biggest achievement during the Trickstar Striker format, if anybody plays Yu-Gi-Oh there. And so I did a lot of top 8s, top 16s, second places at the regionals. And I've been playing Magic the Gathering quite a lot. I think I didn't do much except from winning a store championship last year. Now I'm playing something else. But so I'm going to say it I'm still on within 5 minutes. So I personally think that ban lists serve a lot of purposes because I've seen Yu-Gi-Oh, I've seen Magic the Gathering. I think I may have seen Pokemon at some point, or I have seen some viral things from by Vars or Vanguard.
Yep.
And for example, Yu-Gi-Oh and Yu-Gi-Oh TCG and Yu-Gi-Oh OCG are completely different. Basically, completely different games. They have different approaches and philosophies when it comes to the ban list, as well as Magic the Gathering, the standard format. I haven't played I play Commander like everybody, but standard. For example, the biggest contrast is standard has not banned anything for a year, if I am not mistaken. That's because set rotation exists. So cards are ideally designed to be played for their lifespan, and then they are out. It's very rare for a ban list to take place, but especially in the standard format. In other formats, it does take place, and it's the soft rotation. Yu-Gi-Oh does have a soft rotation system because there is no limit on what you can play.
Yeah.
So the companies need you to buy new product. The biggest example of that, I think, or sometimes they want to achieve something. This is my conspiracy theory. For example, Cosmo was banned from the Cosmo Dark Destroyer went from 3 copies down to 1 copy, so that Blue Eyes White Dragon would take the trophy on that World Championship.
Yeah,
or
that was Blue Eyes ABC, wasn't it?
No. It was the only World Championship where everybody played Blue Eyes.
Oh, okay.
Because they banned and restricted everything else.
Sure.
So you were forced to play Blue Eyes.
Yeah. Okay,
or another example was the same scenario, but with Salamangreat. Yeah. They banned and restricted everything, so the World Championship would be played and won by Salamangreat, and that was it's like a PR move.
Yeah.
But it's mostly so you buy the new products. For example, the biggest example would be Sky Striker. It's a deck based entirely on spell cards, and they banned Masterpiece, which was a super big monster that could be immune to spell cards.
Sure.
So why? Because the new deck is based around spell cards, so if that card still exists, then that new deck is not going to do anything.
Yeah.
So we ban it. And I think it's still banned to this day. I am not sure. But so Magic the Gathering is completely different in standard. The cards are designed to last you for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then you have to switch the deck, or you have to ideally be changing the deck every year, because some staples get changed or replaced, and you need to do that. Or you sometimes the meta is changing so much that a few decks are set in stone, so you need to constantly be changing your arsenal of cards in the main deck. So that's why I believe they are also very lenient and very calm. So now, why is this context so relevant, right? Because as I was discussing with my friend here, there is no precedent for Cover, because Cover is managing the game.
Yes.
It's not Yoshimo, it's not Konami, it's not Wizards of the Coast, it's Cover.
Yes.
I assume they have their vision. And these ban lists and these philosophies these tell you a lot about what the game is and what things happen and what they want you to do. For example, in the OCG, Yu-Gi-Oh OCG, it's a very luck-based and very, in my opinion, it's very luck-based, and they want to appeal to the most common denominator, so that decks now play themselves. You don't need to think too much. It's mostly about just doing pachinko and rolling the dice and see who wins. The TCG, on the contrast, tries to, or at least in my experience, has tried to limit the luck factor as much as possible, and has tried to reduce these tier 0 formats and other things that in the OCG market are acceptable. Magic the Gathering is completely against the luck format, and I think Thibault's Trickery has the reason from this YouTuber Dual Locks was paraphrasing an article by Wizards of the Coast saying that sometimes they ban cards because they create a game state where it's do you have the out or don't you have the out? Do you have the out? Oh, I lose the game. You don't, I win the game. And it creates a very on sportsmanship and on friendly and not competitive, according to Wizards of the Coast, or that article, and not very competitive game state.
Yeah.
And that's why those cards will get banned, because it's luck based. It takes away the skill, and they want you to make decisions, micro advantages, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So in all that context.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, exactly. And I think, like you said, like this is the first time we've seen a cover card game. Yes, Bushiroad is involved in the distribution, but only in the distribution or production only. They're not actually involved in the card game design or the rulings. They're not. That Bushiroad aren't involved in that in the slightest. So I think the only thing we are going to get potential Bushiroad involvement in is going to be actually we know anyway, is the organized play side of things. Obviously, all the events are managed through Bushinavi. Like promo and product distribution is managed by Bushiroad, but the game itself is designed by Cover, similar to Shadowverse Evolve, where the whole thing is made and done by Cygames. It's just distributed and the events are managed by Bushiroad. That is the only foot in the door that Bushiroad have. So like you said, it's a brand new card game in the sense of it's Cover's first card game. It's probably going to be their only card game in terms of like a playing card game, and I think it's going to be interesting to see what they do with this restriction list, because it will set a precedence on what we are going to be looking at in the future in terms of future restriction lists and what they're going to be doing with that.
What they think, mostly their mindset. Their mindset. I think
exactly that. Yeah, it is a question of what is their mindset. What do they think is going to fix the game? Because again, like we mentioned earlier, the two problem decks at the moment by a significant margin are Promise and Kanata. They are the two decks at the moment that are performing extremely well, seeing a high representation and seeing a very good conversion rate. There are a few rogue decks that are, so let's say rogue decks. There are other decks that still do well. For example, Kiara Polka does well. I think we've seen a few Suisei lists come up and do quite well. Obviously, we saw during the Bloom Cup, we saw Muna Zeta do quite well, relying on the luck base of the Zeta Buzz.
Let me add in there. I was there.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But I didn't see. I think I saw it, but it was. I think that one is more the player, rather than the deck.
Okay.
It's some of these players that topped. I did a few stalking, may or may not have. They have topped before, so I feel it's shoutouts to them, right? It's a skill.
Well, that's the thing. Like, we all know in Japanese RPGs, you know, luck is a skill you have to train. First of all.
Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. May I?
Go for it.
All right. So before we go to the countdown, I will try to make it smaller. Personally, I don't think the game needs a ban list.
Okay.
I personally believe that, and it's the chat's already saying, oh, but you play your freaking the promise deck. That's why just promise guy, promise propaganda and everything. It's like, shut up. No, okay. So yeah, I do have promise deck, right? But it's not because of that. What I would love to have is Mulligan reworked.
Okay.
So they give us the London Mulligan from Magic the Gathering, which is you draw your 7. Then the first mulligan is not free in standard, so you still draw 7, and then you pick one and put it on the bottom of the deck.
Yeah. Rather than just drawing 6, you still draw your 7 and then put cards back to the bottom. Yeah.
And I feel that that would probably fix the game and see how then the decks perform and evolve, because this game has best of 1.
Yes.
Is singles. So there is more luck involved in it, especially with the fact that you have to play your second hand. Like, you have to play it.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I have been in both ends of either having an unplayable hand and losing because of the unplayable hand, or having my opponent lose because of an unplayable hand. And it's a best of 1, and I don't think that's very good gameplay. It's a very feels bad moment. It doesn't happen quite often, But here's the problem: there are some decks that are, like you just said now, Polka, Chiara, and Kanata. I would argue that are go big or go home.
Yes.
I believe in the gameplay video we did, you opened the nuts, and we saw how that deck, and I did a little. I was struggling, but that opening the nuts, you showcases how like brutal the deck can be.
Absolutely.
But if you don't open the nuts, then you're dead on the water. So it creates this, and some of these decks I've noticed they are what's this word I'm looking for? They want to. You're sort of guaranteed to do what the deck wants to do. But with these decks like Kanata and Polka Chiara, you are rolling the dice there. So there is a luck factor, and if they don't fix the mulligan, the luck factor is still gonna be there. And so that's why when we were going back to that point of luck is a factor that you have to master when you play in Japanese RPGs. What is going to happen? Are they going to hit Promise because it's too consistent, so you need to master the luck skill? Or are they going to hit other aspects of the game, such as the staples, so that you need then to, to rely more on your deck construction? I don't know if it's going to be more luck-based or not, because you could go after the consistent decks, so they are less consistent, therefore it's more luck-based, and you have a game being more luck-based, or is it going to be less luck-based? And one last point, which is now super conspiracy theory, you may or may not be able to confirm this. The Japanese market, because this is not only in Japan, under my experience, they will buy anything that has the face of, like, especially for HOLOLIVE, they will buy anything that has the face of HOLOLIVE.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like even in the West, like HOLOLIVE is still really popular, and there are many people that will go, oh, my Oshi has finally got some cards. I'm gonna wail and like spend all my money to get the highest rarity cards for that character. Like that is definitely a thing, and obviously it is only heightened in Japan. The Oshi and the like that otaku culture in Japan is obviously 10 times what it is here in the West, and it's kind of ridiculous in that sense. It's very, very it's overwhelming to a degree, like how mad people go. And like HOLOLIVE is probably one of the best selling sets in Weishwarts, even though, and that's across the world, not just in Japan, and that's in the West as well. It's one of the most sold sets as far as I'm aware. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't think I'm wrong in saying it's probably the most sold set in Weishwarts, because it is so popular just as a brand globally. And especially now in the HOLOLIVE OCG, now that we're getting more, obviously we're getting more ID representation, we're getting more EN representation with Kali, obviously Ollie's coming in for ID. So, yeah, and obviously we had a fair bit of ID support already with Muna and with Zeta, Iofi. Like we had loads. So I want to echo your thoughts. Like, does the game need a ban list? I'm not sure. The biggest thing is that the mulligan mechanic isn't right, and that needs changing. Like it's you either do it. I think you either do it one of two ways. One, you do it whereby you what's the word? You either do it by doing it similar to Pokemon, where you draw 7. If you have to mulligan, you mulligan again, draw 7. Mulligan again, draw. You always draw 7. But then your opponent gets an extra card for each mulligan you have to do beyond the first 3 mulligan. I think that's interesting. I think that's one thing that Pokemon doesn't do, in terms of you don't get the 3 mulligan to start with, and I wish that they did. So I think that's probably one of the best ways of doing it. The second way is, again, like you said, like Magic, where again you draw your 7, you get a 3 mulligan to start with, and then if you have to mulligan again, and it's not optional, it's Pokemon in the sense of you have to have a debut, right? So as you Magic the Gathering, you like there is never a situation in Magic the Gathering where you have to mulligan. Obviously, the nature of HOLOLIVE is that you have to if you don't have a debut, because you physically can't play a HoloMem to the stage. So I think that, again, if like the first one is a free mulligan, you get your choice, like it currently is. That's fine. That is absolutely fine. But then afterwards, like you said, is you still draw 7 on the mulligan afterwards. A mulligan doesn't have a free mulligan. I thought it did have a free mulligan. I thought it had 1 free mulligan, or is that commander only?
No, that's commander only. That's from the professor.
Oh, okay. So I'm very out of touch with Magic the Gathering.
No, it's okay. It has like 10 formats.
Yeah, exactly. I've not played Magic the Gathering properly for about 10 years, so whatever. But I think doing it the Magic the Gathering way is fine and all. But again, it's a matter of if you have to mulligan again. If it's one of those. I think the mulligan format in Magic the Gathering works because you always have the choice to. You don't have to. It's always a choice. In HOLOLIVE, because in some situations you have to mulligan, that's what makes it difficult. So I genuinely think the Pokemon style so rather than like punishing yourself, you award your opponent by giving them extra cards. I think that's the best. I think that would be the best way, personally. But that's my opinion, And I think as well, you're not going to get it as much in HOLOLIVE because the nature of the game and obviously the cheer mechanic versus the energy mechanic in Pokemon is that you still want to run a higher number of debut than you would say a basic Pokemon in Pokemon because of how you have to do your cheer generation. You're not playing it from hand, so you don't get the opportunity to play a holo member and then attach a cheer later on that same turn. You have to put a cheer on your holo members that are currently on the stage at the beginning of your turn, basically. So you're still going to play a higher count of debuts or like basic Pokemon in HOLOLIVE OCG, but as a result, the thought is, as a result of you having to you having to run more debuts, the chance of you mulliganing is quite low. So I've just had a quick look. Something's just been posted by yourself. So people are looking at what people are expecting to see in the restriction list.
I sent you the Twitter link.
Yes, I've literally just seen. I'm just about to share the screen with everyone.
Yeah,
now.
Okay.
The cards that people are expecting to see hit. So 80% likelihood, 80% or greater, is your Iris level 1 Bloom, which I agree that is probably the problem card of Promise. The fact that it gives out basically a plus 60 damage for a turn is ridiculous. Why was it ever printed as plus 60 or plus 30 for both? Like, why was that ever considered? It should have been plus 20 from the start. So in my opinion, I don't think a restriction list is needed. I think an errata of that one single card would fix the entire situation with Promise. I genuinely believe that. I genuinely believe making that a plus 20 instead of a plus 30 for the Bloom effect fixes Iris. It still makes it playable, still makes it strong and good, but it doesn't make it overly dumb. In my opinion, at least. In terms of like the 50% chance of being hit, you're looking at the debut collab Kanata, the on collab. If give your center stage plus 10 power for the arts, and then if it's a Gen 4 character, it gives an additional plus 20, so it makes it plus 30. You've also got the Bloom, first Bloom Mume. Excuse me. Which is obviously in your Bloom on the debut, search for any Promise character, Promise or first, should I say. And you've also got the first Crony on Bloom. Choose one of your Promise characters and take the color of that Promise character. Choose a cheer in your cheer deck of the same color and attach it to any of your Promise holomems. Those cards are very good. They, again, the fact we're seeing the free cards we're seeing straight away in this are basically the first Bloom core of Promise. Like, it shows that Promise is a problem deck, and I think that's agreed. We are going to be getting the restriction list in 2 minutes time, so
yes,
that's coming up.
I wanted to add.
Yeah, go ahead.
There is the thing before we are going to the countdown. There is this issue of, okay, if you're gonna get rid of Promise, right? I have a few concerns. First, I sent you an image on Discord of basically the new cards that are going to be added into the promotion packs for the shop tournament.
Yes.
and that's promise. It's basically a promise upgrade.
Yeah.
So if you're going to kill the deck, why did you bother printing that?
Yeah.
All right, it doesn't make, like, ideally should be the other way around. Like, you print it, people use it, and then you kill the deck.
Well, I think that the promos they've given are basically the idle outfits. That's the thing to make note of here. It's not so much it's promise, it's the idle outfits. Obviously, yes, you've got the new alternate arts for the Galaxy events, obviously for the idle mic and for promise.
Yes, it's like, why would you kill the deck, right?
Fauna on the side, still waiting for a card.
Yes, and also before we go, I put a link to the searching for events in Bushimo, Bushinabi.
Yeah,
and the reason why I don't play the game too much is because you can't really play the game in Tokyo.
Okay,
like, you have to be like an owl on the day at noon when they announce that they are opening sign-ups, and then sign up there. If you don't do it on that day, you are SOL for that month. You have to hope you get in after somebody cancels. So that's one thing that I'm like, what, like, if I cannot really sign up and play games like in Magic the Gathering or Yu-Gi-Oh, why do you want to kill decks? Like, dude, I haven't even played that much in these months. Like that's the thing. But I think the time has come.
Yes, I am refreshing the page as we speak to see if anything comes up.
I'll also refresh. I'll go to my Twitter, see if the Twitter
nothing's
works.
coming up yet. Did red aggro not a problem? No, I wouldn't say it was a problem. Again, it's one of those decks that's like, it's very, you go hard or go home, Rainier, and it's, if it doesn't go hard, Kiara Polka struggles a lot.
You're dead on the what? You're dead. You're dead if you don't know how big.
Exactly. Oh, come on!
If you go big though,
don't delay this. Don't delay the announcement. Come on, please. I've got to get back to work
still
after
8
this.
p.m. Still 8 p.m. So we're probably updating it.
Yeah, it's probably being posted.
Yes. I mean, they probably already posted it, but it has to, like, you know how you can schedule tweets.
Yeah, schedule. Yeah.
You can schedule things, so they probably already did.
It's definitely not there yet.
I don't see anything on their Twitter.
No, I don't. Let me check on their website. Maybe there's a post.
Probably it's on the website.
That's what I'm just looking now. Did it say where they were going to post it? Translate.
Maybe it's on their website. I'm still checking there.
Yeah, I'm just about to check the website now.
It's probably gonna crash like the Yu-Gi-Oh. The Yu-Gi-Oh websites crash on the day of the ban list. It's very interesting.
Right, rule Q&A. So there's still there's nothing on the rules for using the deck construction card. There's no update yet. There's no update yet. Come on. Come on, cover. Give me the goods. We're now 2 minutes past. Come on.
They say around 8. So I don't think it's gonna be like 8:30. I think it's going to be like in a few minutes time.
Yeah.
But or maybe somebody's streaming and they are going to let me check on the
maybe they're doing a live stream, and if they are, we need to get on that.
Fubuki's streaming, but I don't think she's doing PR.
Yeah, they didn't announce it was going to be on a live stream at all. They simply said, let me get this tweet up again. They literally just
it will
said
be around.
Oh yeah, will be added to HOLOLIVE. The restricting cards will be added to the HOLOLIVE official card game as a rule regarding card usage. The details of the first restriction card or cards and the effective date will be announced on 8 p.m. JST on Friday November 29th. What are restricted cards? This is a card that can only be included in one deck. That's how it's been
Okay, so
translated.
it's still gray for me, that button.
Yeah, that's what I was just checking. The rules for using the card. The last was a retweet of HOLOLIVE talent having a box opening contest about luck. No, there's still no rule updates. Yeah, it just says. I mean, I'm sure this translation isn't the best. Let me actually look at the Japanese. The Dekini.
Kind of surprising.
So I think so. The restriction list is, if I'm translating that correctly, it's saying that a restricted card is a card that you can only have one copy of in your deck.
Yeah.
Because the translation
It does
is not
have
the best.
Shimaidake
Exactly.
highlighted there.
Exactly. Oh, why is that pink? That's fine. Okay, cool.
Which is still awful. Like, for example, if you limit Iris, you kill the deck. Or if you limit Mume, you kill it.
Yeah.
The deck is dead. Like, it's dead. It's unplayable. You can play it, right? Of course, but it's basically dead.
Yeah, for sure.
Or a Kanata, right? If you limit something from Kanata, it's also probably going to just die. Like, there's nothing else you can.
Yeah. Oh, we're all waiting so anxiously.
Yeah.
The
Because
seconds are still very good, but if you're having to run only one copy of Iris rather than your up to 4, like, that's going to massively kill the consistency of being able to get your second Iris out. Like, the only thing you basically have to run less of the bloom effect Iris, and you have to run more of the vanilla Iris, so you still got your ample enough of first blooms that you can use. You just can't use the bloom effect one too often. So I don't think I don't think it kills the deck. It all it does is it massively impacts the damage output at early game. So
that's the thing. It's like,
I don't think it kills the deck. It stops you dealing an additional 60 damage turn 2, which is what's the problem.
Yeah, but like that means you are if that happens, you're at the complete mercy of Kiara Polka and Kanata. Like, there's almost no way you're defeating those decks.
Well, that's why I think it's not just going to be Iris. I think there's going to be more to it. I think there's going to be more.
Yeah, but like, are you really going to kill a lot of decks? Like it's so.
No, I don't think it's a matter of killing. I think it's just they've just got to be brought down to the normalized curve, and I think that's all that needs to happen. And I think hitting the first bloom Iris does that. And I think what they should do is hit the first bloom Iris, and I agree with the collab Kanata. If the collab effect Kanata, if they hit those two cards, I think it brings those two decks down to a level where it can not just overrun Kiara Polka and any other deck. Like, I think if they were to do a restriction list, I think those two cards would be fine. I don't think they need to do anything else. I think just those two cards. That's my opinion. Oh, it's out. It's live. It's here. We're here. It's got it. It's come out. It's not on there. It's on the website, I bet. It's out. Where is it?
I haven't said anything. I haven't seen anything.
I've not seen anything. Where is it? I'm
check your phone on maybe it's on the mobile version of the website.
Maybe.
It's out of battery.
Oh, HOLOLIVE. Thank you very much for the link, Diz. Okay, so the restriction list. So the cards. So they've given some the reasoning as well. Okay, cool. So we'll be adding cards. So it's the restricted cards will be live on Friday the 20th of December, so the release of set 2. Nice. I'm not reading chat. I want to wait till I get to it. Okay, stop. So only one of these cards may be used. This rule regarding applies to all tournaments. Sure. So in the Bloom Cup DX, held in October, November this year, decks centered on Promise and decks centered around Kanata showed outstanding results in terms of overall share and win rate. These decks have also achieved excellent results in subsequent tournaments and are expected to continue to perform well even after the release of cards of second set Quintet Spectrum. However, the HOLOLIVE card game aims to be a card game that more TCG players and HOLOLIVE fans can enjoy, and after Quintet Spectrum we plan to add new deck themes with the participation of new HoloMems, strengthening existing deck themes by combining with new cards in order to create an environment where many cards and decks can be used to provide a more enjoyable experience for everyone who plays HOLOLIVE. We have decided to set restricted cards in consideration of the environment after Quintet Spectrum. We apologize for setting restrictions on the use of these cards so soon after release, but we appreciate your understanding. So the first cards, okay. So by combining cards with the tag Promise, you can prepare the necessary cards on the stage depending on the battle situation. In addition, it is easy to meet the conditions that the cards requires for arts, and it can greatly increase the arts damage of HoloMem with the Promise tag. Due to its high adaptability in its current environment, derivative decks combining favorite HoloMems have been born. However, the high adaptability of this deck narrows the range of deck choices, and we are concerned that a similar situation will continue even after the release of Quintet Spectrum due to the addition of favorite HoloMem cards, or Oshi HoloMem, and cards with that improved stability such as custom PC. Okay, we have decided to add card usage restrictions in the hope of various decks, including the hashtag Promise, will be active in the future. So we see the Mume. So this is one of the cards that are responsible for the adaptability of the Promise deck. The Bloom effect allows you to gather the necessary HoloMem for early stages, including herself, because you can spam herself, which makes sense. And from mid stage onwards, you can add this card from your hand with a second Bloom as well. From the support card Promise, to ensure that you can secure the HoloMem and put on stage again. In addition, by combining it with the debut HoloMem, the draw, I assume that's the draw one, the draw Mume and the second Mume, you can bloom and organize your hand every turn. As a result, we're designing this card creates a state which is very reproducible compared to other decks. Agreed. I'm okay with this. Next, Iris. Okay, the Iris has been hit. So for Promise, it's the Iris and the Mume. Okay, I think that makes sense. So for the Iris, this card has the Promise tag, and its Bloom effect can increase the arts of Center and Collab members. If you play 2 of these in one turn, you can take down multiple HoloMem from the beginning. Yes, I agree, because if you can get 2 of these out, you're doing plus 120 damage, which is ridiculous turn 2. Which makes it difficult to place HoloMem you want to play in the center or collaboration stage. In order to create an environment where HoloMem on stage are more easy to thrive in both the Promise core deck and its opponent's decks, this card will be restricted. I agree. I like the reasoning they're given for this. This is good. And I like that they've done this from the very beginning. This is a very good precedent. So moving on to Kanata. By using many cards that deal special damage to your opponent's HoloMem and cards that increase arts of damage of your own HoloMem, this deck can gain an advantage in the damage race. In particular, the ability of the favorite HoloMem Kanata makes it easier to take down the opponent's HoloMem from early stages. Agreed. And from middle stages onwards, the ability of the second stage HoloMem, second Bloom Kanata to deal additional life damage is very powerful. Yes, making this deck the highest overall win rate in Bloom Cup DX. Okay, the deck is expected to be active even after the release of Quintet Spectrum, but in order to aim for an environment where more decks can be active, we have decided to add card restrictions by slightly reducing the deck's adaptability whilst keeping the deck concept the same. Nice. So, okay, so the card I expected to see is there. So the debut Kanata has been restricted. This is one of the cards that can increase arts damage in the Kanata main deck. This card is easy to access with normal PC and idle microphone. Good. And the collaboration effect to give plus 30 damage with any holo member with the 4th generation tag. It can also support second second Bloom to achieve the conditions for the Jet Black Wings. Agreed, which is the dealing extra damage, dealing extra life. And since it's a card that is active throughout the game, it will be set to a limited card in order to reduce the number of cards that we put in the deck and the possibility of putting it on the stage. Agreed. So you can still get it from the likes of ordinary PC. Of course you can, but you've only ever can get one, so you can't like get two of them and basically rotate them in and out to deal that extra 30 damage every single turn. Good, I like that, and again, I like the reasoning. Oh, interesting. So about the Oshi, the key card of the Kanata deck, the Oshi HOLOLIVE, is also a very powerful card from early to late game, and is expected to play an active role in the deck centered on the white HOLOLIVEs in general. Agreed. With this restriction revision, we are making adjustments to reduce deck power by placing restrictions on HOLOLIVE card, but we will continue to keep a close eye on decks that focus on white HOLOLIVE, including decks that focus on Amane Kanata, which has a high win rate. Good. Future restrictions will be reviewed. Win rate for first, second. We have received feedback that there seems to be a discrepancy of the win rates between first and second. We'll continue to consider that. And lastly, once again, HOLOLIVE aims to be a game that you can enjoy playing and communicate with your favorite HOLOLIVE, and we will continue to work on improving the battle environment and developing cards. We hope you continue to support the game. I like this list. I am okay. I think this is a good starting restriction list. Yes, it is an unusual time for me. Because there was this special restriction list update happening at like 15 minutes ago. I wanted to stream this. I think this is a very good restriction list. I am actually really happy with this. I think hitting the Mume and the Iris is good. I think the debut Kanata was the card to hit in Kanata. I totally agree with that. Yeah, I think this is a good restriction list. Shinobi, what do you think?
I think it's garbage. I don't have a deck anymore. Okay, there. It's your Christmas present, dude. Your deck is screwed. You no longer can play your deck. It's gone.
You can. You just have to play the vanilla first blooms.
No, it's just gone. It's garbage. It's like, I mean, like, even for Christmas, right there, it says like 20th December, right? Like just in time for Christmas. Like, here you go, man. What's my present? Dear cover core. Oh, you just cannot use your deck anymore. It's like, get fucked.
Merry Christmas.
It's like, no, in all honesty, so I personally think it's garbage because I haven't been able to play the game as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
Because of what I show you, probably will show it at some point that you can't get into the events like at all. I wasn't expecting to go into the Bloom Cup because I had like waiting number 1,000 or something. You cannot sign up for a lot of the events on December anymore. So a lot, and you see a lot of applications there, like 100 applications, like 50. So there is a lot of people that just don't get to play the game.
Oh.
And like and I've seen when I've been able to like get be in line to get the cancellation number, I see like 10 people who don't get to play.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, it's a lot of people are not able to play the game. They are either unlucky or they are working, so they cannot sign up.
Yeah,
etc. And so just basically killing like Kanata is half dead.
Yeah. And
Promise is dead. So killing two decks in the span of less than half a year, I don't think it's a good thing.
I understand the concern. Murasaki, yes, to confirm. So limited cards are now restricted to one in any deck that they exist in. That is correct.
Yeah. But you're still killing the deck. Like it's dead.
It impacts it it impacts it to a significant degree. I agree. However, another thing quickly before, because I do have to end this stream very soon, purely because I've got to get back to work. But we've also had news about WGP, which, if you don't know what WGP is, it's the World Grand Prix for 2025. And they've mentioned that obviously HOLOLIVE is going to be part of the World Grand Prix. So that means it is going to be affiliated to Bushy Road, which means the chance of it when HOLOLIVE comes to English, the chance of it coming to BCS is extremely high, which I'm very excited for. However, in typical Japanese fashion, they have used the freaking diversity rule, which I just don't like the diversity rule. So they've said in the main tournament of World Grand Prix 2025, we'll use a favorite HOLOLIVE member selection as a method of selection from the preliminary rounds to the final round. So that's what we call a diversity rule in Weishwartz, where
I've heard of
it has basically only certain amount of sets can go in from each side of Weiss and Schwarz, and then those go up into your final. Like, so you might finish in the top 8, but if you're running a similar deck by excuse me, if you're running the same deck, like same title as someone who finished first, second, third, for example, even though you're in top 8, you don't make the top 8 cut, which is really grim.
I don't like that. I don't think it's honest.
Yeah, I don't like the diversity rule. I think it's terrible. So they've confirmed in that diversity rule there will be, so the terms of the people that are gonna, so beforehand, just make sure I'm translating this correctly. I'm gonna quickly just get my Google translation up because I am being dumb with my Japanese. So 1 second. So it gives an example. Okay, so what you get is you have so it's the 6 undefeated players automatically go through, regardless of what their Oshi is. The 6 undefeated players go through. Okay.
Wait. Is that happening also here in HOLOLIVE?
Yes, this is literally just been announced.
What?
So it's exactly the same as Weiss. Okay, I didn't realize that was the same as Weiss. So yeah.
What?
So the top. So the top.
It's 6... the exact same. Go for it. I'm listening.
Yeah. So the 6 undefeated players automatically go through to the final stage, and then the remaining. So if this was a 16-player tournament, so the remaining players, basically, depending on how many. I'm just trying to make sure I understand this. So when it says diversity, what is the diversity? Because I'm trying to understand what this diversity bit is at the bottom. So,
basically, it's like
up to 2 people with different Oshis. So the top 6 players will go in; they'll be undefeated, and then you have say 7th to 16th. Or 7th till 24th or something. The top 2 players with whoever Oshi is in 7th, if their Oshi the next appearance, so 8th, 9th, 10th, whatever, once that's done, anyone below those 2 players who are using the same Oshi do not qualify for the final round. So for example, if 7th, 8th and 9th were all Suisse users, the 7th and 8th will qualify, but the 9th player will not qualify for the final round. But 10th will, and basically it pushes it down until there's it's balanced. Basically,
it's forced diversity into forced deck representation, if sort of
exactly.
So...
It's to encourage diversity in gameplay, right? And I get why they want to do it. But it is not a true representation of what is performing well at the tournament. I personally hate the diversity rule. I think it's terrible.
I wanted to say, because we were talking about, I was talking about, who I want. I still want to support you with your channel and stuff, as I have shown, but this is a huge bummer, because then this means this game is so this. Okay, so this is huge, actually.
It is.
Thank God I started playing Kill Team as much of my main hobby. I have a Kill Team Necron there. I'm going to assemble Kit Bashing. Also, Warhammer. I have to do Warhammer every single time we speak, because that's just in my blood. But why am I saying this? Because this is now luck-based. They have just confirmed part of what we were discussing, of what the mindset they have. And by hitting a deck that is extremely consistent, by now basically killing Kanata, because the guys who play Kanata only play Kanata. That's how the deck is supposed to do. You only run Kanata. So by getting rid of the 3 extra copies of that collab Kanata, you're screwed. Like Kanata is screwed.
Well, you screwed. Instead of running Kanata, you have to run Sora. right? That you just have to.
Yeah, or something. But like, what the problem now is that it just makes it far more saltier, because those Canada guys are probably still going to run her, and now it's I drew the one-off.
Yeah,
I win the game. It's as if the ban list didn't hit me, or something like that. But the force diversity rule, it's like, you have to gamble more in the game. You have to gamble more with your deck choice. You have to gamble a lot. So yeah, that tells us a lot about that this game is, well, very luck based now. That's their mentality. We want you to gamble here.
it is, because it's like, again, like, it's same as Weiss. Like when you look at WGP for Weiss, it's you expect the top decks to do well, of course you do, but then if you're one of those guys that goes, you know what, I'm going to risk it and try and play a different title, you might still make the final round. But when you get to the final round, like, excuse me, when you get to the final round, it doesn't matter, because you'll probably lose to the top deck that won anyway.
Yeah, immediately. Yeah.
So yeah, it's just I just don't understand the diversity. It's something that, again, because this is probably because the organized play is managed by Bushiroad. That we know.
Probably.
And they did it. They do it with Weisschwarz. I don't know if they do it with Vanguard or not. I'm genuinely not sure. But I know they do it with Weisschwarz. Do they do it in Shadowverse as well? I don't know. But the fact they're doing it in HOLOLIVE for the World Grand Prix, it just shows you that people are, that the Japanese aren't, like, for the organized play, they are not moving away from this idea of the diversity rule. And I'm so glad that in the English format, at least for Weisschwarz and Vanguard and all that stuff, the diversity rule does not exist in the English format.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, in the English format, the diversity rule does not exist. And I'm hoping that when this comes to English, the diversity rule will not come in. I am really hoping that. Because the backlash would be horrific if the diversity rule existed in English.
Yeah, I mean, oh my God, all of you people in the chat, God bless you. Like, another hobby I cannot really participate. Well, I guess full kill team now. It's because this. I mean, on my opinion, this sucks. It's garbage. It's like, in a certain way, it lets you know that people who make it may or may not have done so by their own merit. You know,
I genuinely think that the idea of the diversity rule in Japan is to try and make the game more casual, and Bushiroad are known for how casual their games are, and it's I just don't like it. It disrupts the competitive play in these what should be competitive tournaments. Yeah. And whilst, again, I know Weisschwarz is not the most competitive game in the world just because of the nature of the game, and HOLOLIVE I can imagine is very similar. And Jamie's put it very well in chat, actually, saying that it artificially inflates bad decks and pretends the meta is better than it is. I absolutely agree. Like we've seen in Weisschwarz, obviously in English at the moment, the meta is probably the healthiest it's been for a very long time, and that is without the requirement of a diversity rule. So the fact that the Japanese format is still deciding to use this diversity rule, it just baffles me. It just absolutely baffles me. I don't understand why.
I guess I forgot to mention in one of everything I did that gambling is the bread of every day here in Japan in a lot of entertainment.
Which is ironic, because actual gambling is banned, is illegal.
Yeah,
in Japan.
Right. Like, it's kind of like we still see the pachinko places. Yeah, it's they're everywhere.
Yeah, but even there, what I mean is actual gambling, as in like betting for money, like you would expect in a casino in America, UK. That's illegal in Japan.
Horse races.
Yeah, horse races. That is banned in Japan. That is actually illegal.
Which is weird, because horse racing is very popular here, right? It's
like, yeah, I mean, look at Uma Musume. Like,
I don't know anything about it, by the way, but I see the spots on the train and everything.
I've seen it on the screens on the trains. Yeah, like they always talk about horse racing. Like, there's always some advert for it.
Yes. exactly. Or people on their phone with horse racing.
Yeah,
like it's
exactly.
Or like the
It's
pachinko
huge.
things. People actually line up for when they open.
Yeah, it's huge in Japan, and I don't know why. But it is what it is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
We're running out of videos like this. Do you want to continue?
So yeah, that's the updates, I guess. So we've seen a restriction list. It's confirmed that it is the first Bloom effect Mume and the first Bloom effect Iris in Promise, and it is the collab effect debut Kanata in the Kanata deck. But whilst it is a massive shame to see a restriction list so early in a game, I understand why, and I think if the restrictions that they've done are probably the correct restrictions, I think the only thing that maybe could have been changed. Does the first Bloom Mume need to be there? I don't know, but I think it does, because it just ramps the consistency of that deck beyond anything that any other deck can compete with. The exception of that, obviously, there is an equivalent in ID3 with Zeta. We've obviously seen the new one for Gen 3 in Set 2 with Noelle, which actually lets you get Buzz Holo members, which is ridiculous. I don't know why they've allowed that. I
think it's the Yu-Gi-Oh aspect of buy the product, then kill it, then buy the pro. I think it probably is like that, given how they with this, they release the Promise in this state, they kill it. So will they do that with the new that deck you're mentioning? They release it, it's broken, then they kill it.
Yeah, Gen 3. I think if they had removed the Mume, the restriction list would have been a fine restriction list for a first restriction list. Again, it's a shame. I think it's a shame. It's a shame it's so early, and I think they should have waited until after Set 2 to then go, oh, okay, now we need to start thinking about a restriction list. They should have waited until March next year to actually implement a restriction list.
I think that is a good point.
I think
you're very good. You're spot on there.
The only thing they should have done, they have done the restriction list too early with not enough cards released. And they should have waited until Set 2, let Set 2 get some play, because I bet in the restriction list, I reckon that first Bloom Noelle is going to get hit, because that card is actually ridiculous.
You cannot hit Mume and not hit Noelle. Like,
exactly. Like, you get away with it in you get away with it in ID3 because there are 3 holomems, and the rest of the deck is nowhere near as consistent as Promise. Nowhere near. So you can get away with having that card. I think Gen 3 is going to have the same problem as Mume and Promise. I think that Noelle will get hit. I predict that right from now. Sorry, I just catching up on chat. Yeah, you're right, Jamie. Yeah, I know. Host did wait till second set. You're right. Which makes sense. It makes perfect sense. Oh yeah, yes, I agree. Yeah, the synergy in Gen 3 is not as good as it is in Promise. I agree with you, but I still think Noelle is going to be a problem card, because you would still just, like, even if you was running pure Marine, you would still run the Noelle line just because of the searching capability. It's actually ridiculous. And you'd probably still run a bit of Pekko in there as well because of the cheer generation the first Bloom does. So, like, I've seen I think I saw a list earlier that was looking at Marine, and running a little bit of Noelle and a little bit of Pekko. That is very true, actually. Why run Noelle when Marine has her own tutor? That is a very good point. Yeah, running Pekka for the ramp makes sense, but Noelle feels unnecessary. That's fair. And yeah, like I said, yeah, the Gen 3 payoff is a little worse. Yeah, like the payoff of Promise was so good that it's obviously caused issues. Like, absolutely. Maybe Gen 3 won't be as bad. And like I said, like ID3 isn't as bad, even though it's literally got a carbon copy of Mume with the Zeta. but the rest of the deck is nowhere near as consistent or as strong in general compared to Promise. So like, I think my final thoughts on this is that this restriction list would be fine if they had released it after 6 months. Like, I think doing it this early was a mistake. Just in general, like, 'cause it sets an awkward precedence for the game going forward. But on a positive note, I think it also shows that they are keeping an eye on it, that they are being active about it. They're not like seeing a deck do really, really well for 6 to 9 months and going, oh yeah, we should probably hit that now.
Yeah, that's
like
true.
For example, looking at the Weissschwarz and looking at Shiny Mass, like that deck was abundantly clear that deck was going to be stupidly broken.
In Magic the Gathering, the Raffine deck was the king or one of the kings of the meta for like a year, almost its entire lifespan.
And looking at Weiss as well, like even the English format, way back in 2019, there was a meta with Attack on Titan that meta lasted for like 3 years before they did anything about it. And the funny thing is, they didn't actually do anything about Attack on Titan. It's just that the sets that eventually came out were strong enough to deal with it. Like, they didn't actually do anything to the Attack on Titan deck itself, which is really weird. But again, that's to do with the English side. It's a weird one. It is different. Yeah, that is also very true, because they made it very clear. Diz has made a very valid point. They made it very clear on the release of the English edition that they never wanted to do an English ban list. It only got to a point where they had to when Data Live came out, because that deck was running like 80% win rate, and like it was like, I think at one point 6 or 7 of decks, six or seven out of the top 8 decks were all 8 standby Data Live, which was just that was horrifically terrible. So yeah, and now we have a restriction list in English. Weissschwarz. It's incredible they kept it. They managed to do it for so long without needing one. But it was about time it happened, and I'm glad it does. So I think, so nowadays we assume a broken Weiss set get a honeymoon period where they're allowed to run rampant for 6 months, which makes sense, because if you do it too early, it's going to affect sales of that title. I suppose with HOLOLIVE, it's different, because at the end of the day, everything is HOLOLIVE, right? So, like, people are going to buy into it regardless, just because it's HOLOLIVE. So they haven't got to consider sales when looking at the restriction list and when they do the restriction lists. The only precedent this does set as well is that maybe we will get a restriction list update for HOLOLIVE potentially every 3 months, which I'm not sure is correct. I think the whole honeymoon period to allow decks to do their thing and to truly test and get a good data set to understand the representation and the power of a certain set or a certain deck, you need 6 months for that. I don't think you need like 3 months. 3 months or 2 to 3 months is not enough time.
You don't even know if the deck is going to how is the deck going to fare versus new cards.
Yeah, agreed. But maybe they've done this one only because, again, they've released their first set. It's the first card game they've ever done. Obviously, Promise and Kanata have shown that there was a significant balancing issue with this first set. So they've had to go, okay, we need to fix this balance issue. We now understand what we're going to be doing. So set 2 is obviously now been toned back a bit. Because even when set 2 cards were coming out, I was sitting there going, but people are still going to play Promise and people are still going to play Kanata because those 2 decks are so bloody good. So they've toned down on set 2. They've now toned down the decks from set 1 that was having an issue. So I think this is just an initial teething problem, if you will, where they did not realize how strong Promise and Kanata would be from just a few cards, and they've had to tone those back. So I'm gonna be not controversial here, but I'm gonna put my opinion that I think that whilst, yes, this was early, I think this is correct. Ultimately, for the health of the game in the long run, I think this was correct. The way I can put this is this feels like a bit of an emergency ban list. A bit. They've done it so early. This deck was causing massive issues. They've had to hit it to maintain the collaborative nature of the game and to support not only the competitive players but the casual players, and to balance the player base. So I think they could have waited until after the release of set 2, gone, oh, there's still a problem, let's do a restriction list in month 4, so a restriction list to go live in January. I think that would have been fine. They would have given set 2 a chance to do its thing, gone, oh, these set 1 stuff is still a real big problem, we do need to hit it. That's what I think they should have done. The fact they've done it and they've announced it before the release of set 2 and that it will go live on the day of set 2 is a bit grim. I think they should have waited a month. I really I agree, Og. They put themselves in a corner by having a tournament the day after set 2 releases. I actually agree. So I genuinely think they should have waited maybe either a month after set 2 release or the release of set 3. I think that's what they should have done. They should have done it not so quick. But at the same time, the cards they have hit, the reasons they have given are extremely valid. And I agree with the reasoning behind the restriction list. I definitely do. And for a first restriction list, whilst it does a lot, I think it does it well. I just rip promise players, I guess.
Yep. I have to go. But thank you for having the stream.
Thank you for coming on show. Thank you for your thoughts and whatnot.
Riboso.
No, I appreciate it, my dude. Yeah. No, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yes. All right.
I'll catch you soon,
guys.
See you.
Take
Bye-bye.
Care.
Right, so we are actually going to be ending the stream as well. I've got to get back to work. But yeah, I think ultimately as well, I do agree, Tactician. I do actually agree with the restriction list happening. It's going to make people go, oh, I should actually commit to set 2 rather than going, oh, I can just sit on set 1. So actually, I agree. I do agree. But at the same time, I think people would buy set 2 anyway, just because it's HOLOLIVE. I don't think it needs a reason for people to buy set 2 because people are going to buy it regardless because it's HOLOLIVE. Sorry. So yeah, I think that ultimately, like my personal opinion, I like the restriction list. I think the cards they've chosen are good, and I think the reason they've given is good. My only concern is I think they might have done it a bit too early. But the issue then comes when you look at the bigger picture. They have got a big tournament literally just after the release of set 2. So like I think that's the reason why I've done it so early. I genuinely think that's the reason. And the more I think about it, 3 months, is that enough time to assess a restriction list? I think so. The more I think about it, 3 months is enough time for people to go, this is the main deck, especially with a game that's so popular, and you know it's already got a massive player base. I think 3 months is actually fine. Like, I don't think it needs 6 months. I think 3 months. So if they're doing a new set every 3 months and they do a restriction list on the release of every set, or a review of a restriction list, whether they update it or not is another thing. But as long as they review it every 3 months, I think it's fine. Excuse me. So yeah, overall, I'm gonna say this is good. I genuinely think this is good. It's, again, I think it's a shame that it's happened so early. But again, because set 1, it's a brand new game, there's going to be teething problems, there's going to be balancing problems. So the fact that they've gone, yep, we recognize this, we're fixing it, here's our fix. They're taking ownership. which is good. And yeah, I agree, Tactician, again. It feels like a restriction. It feels like an emergency list because they didn't realize how strong set 1 would be. It's definitely what it feels like. So yeah, overall, I welcome the ban list, the restriction list. I think it's good. And I think ultimately it's only going to do good things for the game. So we will just have to see and just see what happens, really. But like I said, I do have to end this stream now. I do need to come back to work. So thank you to everyone that's tuned in. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will do a summary video on this properly for YouTube. I think it's important to share what's happening. But yeah, thanks for watching. Again, if you are new here, hit subscribe on YouTube, hit follow on Twitch, and please support the channel. And look forward to the exciting stuff coming up. If you haven't already known, I do a radio show now on Thursday nights UK time, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. doing Japanese music. The show is called Nipponji. It's available on Colville Public Radio, and it's really fun. I had a really good fun time doing it last night. So if you want to check that out, the website is www.colvillepublicradio.com. So I will chuck the link in chat, www.colvillepublicradio.com. There's the link for everyone. And like I said, I go live 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. UK time on Thursday nights, every Thursday night. If you have any requests, please let me know. You can let me know via my Discord. But yeah, that was really fun. Thank you so much. My God. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to end the stream here. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. And next stream, I don't know. I'm so incredibly busy at the moment. Like, I'm going to Yorkshire tonight because I'm going for a car show and I'm working it. I've been so mad busy at the moment, but it's all good things that are going to hopefully mean that down the line, I'll be able to dedicate more time here. So again, thank you for watching, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.